Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our readings through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We turn now to As I Walk These Broad Majestic Days. We're going to go back to Republic, Plato's Republic, Book 6 and 7. When we talk about two different modalities or views of the world, we'll talk about stuff that is a beautiful person versus beauty, or the concept of beauty itself, that idealism that Whitman was so influenced by. We've commented on it in earlier conversations. This is poem 21 of the 22 From Noon to Starry Night Cluster, and so we obviously are now at the very end of that reading. Now, our assumptions are that you've been with us at learnstrong.net down that left-hand side, Talks with Walt, our playlist, that you were exposed to our From Noon to Starry Night intro, and then we just finished with Spirit That Formed. Now, our Nortons will tell us that this poem originally was number 21 of Chance Democratic in Leaves of Grass 1860, transferred to the Songs Before Parting supplement to Leaves of Grass 1867 under the title As I Walk Solitary Unattended. Then to the cluster Marches Now the War Is Over in Leaves of Grass 1871 under its present title. Present position in 1881. It has undergone considerable change, notably in the edition of 1871 of the opening 6 lines prompted by the Civil War, and the exclusion in 1881 of a final passage of 5 lines probably not essential to the theme. Now, Norton's finishes. A fundamental tenet is Whitman's subject here, that he regards the non-material realities of idea and ideals as more real, more permanent than the material realities. Again, back to our Republic 6-7 study. However much he celebrates their immediate utility. At line 20, he will in fact, lumina, he will in fact invent a word. In context, the meaning of this invented word is clear, but its derivation, whether from lumen, light, or luminary, a light-giving body, has not been elucidated. We're going to find this an interesting moment in this poem. As I walk these broad, majestic days. Of course, walk will take us back to Song of the Open Road. Broad, think about Song of Myself, Passage 6, sprouting alike in broad zones, etc. And majestic is used 12 times in Leaves of Grass. Now, while the title of this poem is As I Walk These Broad Majestic Days, that's not actually the first line. The first line is, As I Walk These Broad Majestic Days of Peace. In other words, after the Civil War. Now in the parenthetics, for the war, now we're to drum taps, the struggle of blood finished wherein, oh, terrific ideal, back to our comments from Norton's, against vast odds, we're going to see vast here in a second again, erewhile having gloriously won, now thou stridest on. Obviously now we're talking America, we're talking freedom, we're talking liberty, we're talking democracy. Now thou stridest on, yet perhaps in time toward denser wars. Longer, he says it, perhaps to engage in time in still more dreadful contests, dangers, longer campaigns and crises, labors beyond all others in parenthetic. Do you remember in Song of the Open Road 14 when he says, now understand me well, it's provided the essence of things that from any fruition to success, a greater struggle is necessary. This is the exact same argument that he'll be making here. He'll say it this way, around me I hear the eclat, that is to say, the display. This is its only use in all of Leaves of Grass. The eclat of the world, politics, produce, the announcements of recognized things, science, we're familiar with his use of that word. The approved growth of cities and the spread of inventions, Leaves of Grass and growth, obviously. Inventions make us think of technology. And now in the second stanza, an I see, I hear dynamic. I see the ships. They will last a few years. The vast factories with their foremen and workmen, and hear the endorsement of all. This endorsement you'll remember from our Ophiolage. And do not object to it. In other words, he's going to accept and embrace the Industrial Revolution. But I too announce solid things. Now by solid, note the irony. The use of the word here, solid, is actually that which is metaphysical. Science, ships, politics, cities, factories are not nothing. Like a grand procession, we saw this, Proud Music of the Storm, this procession motif all the way through Leaves of Grass. Like a grand procession of music, to music of distant bugles pouring, drum taps comes to mind. Triumphantly moving and grander heaving in sight, they stand for realities, All is as it should be. There's only one time that phrase is used in Leaves of Grass, and it's right here. And this is kind of his theodicy, as we have been saying throughout our study of Leaves of Grass. Why must there have been this war? Well, it produces peace. It produces what comes after it. This idea, I think, is where T.S. Eliot will think of borrowing it from in his little Getting, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. He uses it twice in Getting 4 and 5, you'll remember. Then my reality. So notice we go from the ideal to realities. What else is so real as mine? His idea, in other words, of freedom, democracy. Libertad will take us back to starting from Paumanok 3. Of the divine average will take us to starting from Paumanok 10. So you notice you got these echoes that are starting to happen at the end of Leaves of Grass. Freedom, and this is maybe one of the most radical lines of Whitman's day when readers read this, freedom to every slave on the face of the earth. The rapt promises and lumina of seers, as we said in our Norton's, this lumina word, the spiritual world, the centuries lasting songs, and our visions, the visions of poets, the most solid announcements of any. Well, what are we going to say about this poem at 2a? Well, I think that he's going to argue that the greatest art will always celebrate freedom, and if it doesn't, it's not great art. At 2b, I love all these echoes, especially the ones from starting from Paumanok, which takes us back to the very beginning of Leaves of Grass. And you'll begin to see this more and more as we finish Leaves of Grass. At 3a, consider Emerson's The Poet, that 1844 offering. He was writing it in the 2 years preceded, in the second volume of essays. We've given a full lecture on it at learnstrong.net. And the way in which Emerson called for a great poet, and of course Whitman provided that call with his own life, as well as obviously Leaves of Grass. Finally, at 3b, what is your favorite, or who is your favorite artist, and does that artist promote freedom? And to what degree is Whitman becoming one of your favorite artists? I certainly hope so. Thank you.